Well, welcome to this channel as we do our studies once again. Today we just want to cover something in Microsoft Excel, one of the very powerful packages that data analysts have around. And you can actually go deeper and have better understanding of analyzing data using Microsoft Excel. For today, I just want us to look at a few things here. At the moment, we have a library management system, and I believe you guys already have a grasp of the basic data entry. Perhaps if you didn't get to watch the earlier videos, I invite you to do so, and also of course you can like this content when you find it is useful to you. So I just want to make sure that this row is spanning all the way up to this point, so I need to merge this cell with these other ones. So to do that, I need to click here, which of course it will rejoin, and then because two of the cells were not actually merged, so the first thing it is going to do is to recreate them and put each of those columns on their own. And when I click on it now, it has been able to match it to the full extent. So we have a serial number here. This is just done manually. This is 11, and this is number 12, and this is number 13. So we have the book ID, which we use to identify the book. It should be unique. We've not done any restrictions on data entries as such. We have the title of the book, date borrowed, when it is supposed to be returned, that is date due or due date. Then when it is now returned, the real returning. The returning can be done on, somebody can do the returning earlier than the day, or someone can delay. And so when you do an overdue, we need to determine the number of the overdue days, and again we also need to show us the status of whether it is overdue or returned on time. But then charges are 5 shillings per day if you have an overdue, so we need to be able to calculate that here, and that is exactly what we are going to cover. For now, just to demonstrate some concept here, I want to show you how we can be able to change this into date. We have two different formats for date. We have long date and short date. The ones you are seeing, like this one, is short date, but the longest date would look like this. Let me just write here, maybe on 1st of June 2026. Because I've been using this data, it would automatically be turned into date. But if I just say it was a general, then you can see it is general, since it removes those delimiters or separators. So if I change this to date, I have long date and I have a short date. So long date would give me a name of that particular day, and then the day in terms of the date, and the month, and then of course the year. That is a long date. But if I want a short one, I just come here, click on that downward arrow and pick short date like that, and I'll have my data. So allow me just to pull this through like that to autofill. And then I'm gonna tell you when these books were returned. Maybe this was returned on 20th of June. No, it was supposed to be returned after 5 days, let's say on the 6th of June 2026. All these books, this one was supposed to be returned on 7th of the same month 2026. Just like that. We want to demonstrate some concept here. So when were they returned? Let's say this was returned on 20th of the same month 2026. This was returned on 15th of the same month 2026. So these are picking, the system is picking automatically that these are dates. And we have this one here, quick one. It was returned on 21st 06/2026. So that is what we have, and now we need to determine the number of days that these particular books were either overdue or not overdue. So for us to be able to do that, we need to say that this column here, the date returned, minus the column which is the due date when it was supposed to be returned. Then we determine whether this book was returned on time or not. Now there is one way of doing it which is a very, I would say, it doesn't give the real answer. It is a short way where people would just say that these cells, of course this is F1, 2, 3, whatever, minus these cells here, E, then you get the answer. The challenge with that is that you're going to get a negative answer. So to avoid that, we need to use an if function, and we are saying here equals to, I want you to follow very keenly, if, then we provide the parameter, the logical test here. We are now saying if the nearest or the first element that we are checking is if this is F3 is greater, if it is greater than E3, okay, then you put a comma. Then now you tell us what is going to happen. What is going to happen here is that we are going now to have our F3 minus our E3. And that is, you got it, E3, E3. Okay, E3. Then you now give us what happens if that is not true. Then you are going to return 0. That is to say, if someone borrowed a book and you're supposed to return it on 5th of maybe June, and they return that book on 4th of June, then the overdue days would be 0, not -1. So you close this and you press enter, and you can realize that the system is able to compute that. So without much ado, we will just need to pull through, that is autofilling, so that it determines for the rest, and you can see that values have been determined. Zeros have been put where maybe the due date is matching the return date, or where the due date was coming later than the return date. Now let's determine the status. And the status is, there are only two status. Statuses either you returned it or you did not you returned it on time or you delayed. So here we're just again gonna use if as a function. If, then we're gonna say the logical test. We are now testing the overdue days. So we are using this column, the G's. So we are going to say if this is G3, the cell is read, its address is read from the column followed by the row name. So this is, we are saying G3, if G3 is greater than 0, okay, then, because whatever we want to output is a string or a text, we're gonna code and say if it's greater than 0, if it is true that it's greater than 0, then we would say overdue. Overdue. We'll just say delayed. Okay, then the other one, if it is now, if this is not true, that is if G3 is less than 0, we are going to output what says returned on time. Returned on time. So I will close this. Once I close, you can see. So this one delayed. That is a comment that we are displaying, and we can just again to be safe, we just autofill this, and you can see the books that were returned on time and the ones which delayed. So now I need to compute the amount of money that someone was supposed to pay. If somebody stayed with the book maybe for a single day, they are supposed to pay 5 shillings. Like in this case, they are supposed to do 5 shillings. So I'm not going to compute it outside and then come and put it here. No, the system should enable me to do that. So again, I'm going to say I'm going to use if as a function. It's a very important function. So I want to test the condition, and the condition is actually again on the overdue days. So what I'm saying is that if G3 is greater than 0, okay, if G3 is greater than 0, then we are going to do some computation, and that would be, we would say that G3, okay, multiplied by 5, because that is the amount. Then we put a comma. That is, if it is true, it is greater than 0, then that is exactly what you're going to return. We put a comma and say we will return a 0, meaning that there was no delay. I mean, there was no overdue. And then we will just close that quotation and we close on it. So press enter, you have that. So let's see whether this is working. Yes, it's perfectly working, because you look at here, it is 0. This is 0, this is 0, as you can see. This is 10, this is 145. And just like that, you are able to manage a library using this particular software, Excel. But sometimes you might be required to do we call it sorting your data or filtering your data. Now, to sort means to arrange in some manner. To filter, on the other hand, means you are applying some conditions. You want to sieve your data to have particular data. Like now, if I only wanted to return data of elements that books that have been delayed, okay, so I need to do something. I would actually, number one, I would want to come here and then I do filtering. So once you are doing filtering, you find that you have this arrow pointing downwards. It's like a curve. So, and you would want to do this. Now, if I was because I'm dealing with text here, I would simply uncheck. So if I wanted to return the ones which are delayed, I'll just uncheck that, and then I say okay, and you can see that my data is now, it is kind of, it's filtered. It's filtered. If, let's say we do not do the filtering, so we select all, and then we say okay. Probably you wanted to check the ones which had more than, let's say you want to see the ones that have been delayed for maybe more than 20 days. So you need to come under the numbers, and then you would say greater than or equal to, or you want to look at below, So I want something like which is greater than or equal to 20. So let me say that greater than or equal to 20. I'm just going to have that greater than or equal to 20. So you can see I have sorted my data, and I can see that there are 2 books which took more time to be returned. So just like that, guys, you've been able to learn something. So if you found this content beautifully and nice for you, you've learned something, please like, share it with other friends so that we grow together in the span of technology. I wish you good time.